Hello everyone, I'm making this video to complain a little about the Siege of Lordaeron and particularly about the way the Horde leaders behave around Sylvanas and react to her actions. Once again, this is going to be an unscripted video, so I will ramble a bit, just be warned. And before you proceed, you might want to watch my other video where I talked about the burning of Teldrassil and Sylvanas once again, because in a way this video will tie into the previous one. And also, my daughter's playing in the other room, so if you hear any noises, sorry about that. Right, so Sylvanas had a plan to occupy Darnassus so that the Alliance does not eventually get their hands on the Azeroth and build weapons with which to attack the Undercity, right? Or something like that. Well, she messed up her plan by burning the tree, and she caused the Alliance to attack the Undercity. So here we are in the Siege of Lordaeron. Now the way Sylvanas is portrayed and what she's doing, I think, stays true to what she has been doing since the beginning of the War for the Thorns, so I don't necessarily have a problem with it. However, I do have a problem with the way the Horde leaders either follow her without much reason or have completely lost their backbone when it comes to opposing her. Let's take Saurfang for example. Surely he strongly dislikes what she did to Teldrassil. I mean, he's about to surrender or get himself killed or something here. But for some reason, he is not at all willing to seriously confront her. Look at how aggressively he reacts to the poor young shaman when he tells him things he doesn't like to hear. He throws his shoulders at him, he growls and yells at him, he shoves him around. Yet moments later, Sylvanas is killing her own people with a plague, raising them up as undead to fight the Alliance, and what does he do? He just gets depressed about it and ultimately gives up. She even pours salt in the wound by saying things like this.
Perhaps I will raise your broken body to serve me once more. Or perhaps you will have a chance to say hello to your son. Champions! With me!
And still he does nothing. The player character, of course, has nothing to say, nothing to do. And the same goes for Baine, who's also right there seeing and listening to all of this. And yeah, he gets upset about it when it's already too late. And even so, he is immediately put back in his obedient place by Sylvanas with such an ease. And when he says for the Horde, okay, maybe the developers are planning for him to do something eventually, but I was thinking, what Horde at this point? With Vol'jin and Saurfang gone, the two founding races no longer have any representation among its leaders. And when I say founding, I don't mean like the founding of the first Horde. I'm talking about Sen'jin and Thrall and that Horde. So those who are left, Baine and Lor'themar, are constantly being bossed around by Sylvanas and Nathanos. And in Lor'themar's case, it's even with pleasure.
With pleasure, Blightcore.
And I was actually expecting something else of him. I thought he would be more rational, he would be more intolerant with Sylvanas' behavior and her actions, but that's just not the case. Even though he disliked Garrosh so much, so that he considered joining the Alliance and leaving the Horde, it seems he has no issues with Sylvanas, not at all. I also thought he might perhaps see a parallel between what she's doing to the Night Elves and what Arthas did to his own homeland, but apparently I was wrong about that too. He's just fine with it all, and I guess he only wants the Void Elves to be dealt with. So there we go. We are entering a new expansion with the undead, primarily Sylvanas and Nathanos in charge of the Horde, Lor'themar and Baine just obediently following, Saurfang has given up, Vol'jin is still dead, and yeah, future does not look bright for the Horde, unfortunately. I haven't talked about the Alliance, but I think things were better in their camp. I actually kind of found myself rooting for them, even though I'm Horde at heart. I suppose there was one minor thing that I didn't like. Should I mention it? Maybe I should, given how much you guys like when I complain about minor things. So, it was about Jaina and her portrayal. You know, she's first introduced as this incredibly powerful entity, person. She single-handedly solves the problem that nobody else on the whole field can solve by conjuring up a frost nova the size of a football field, which in one sweep dispels the blight and disables all the risen dead. And then she proceeds to conjure up these massive cannons that tear down the walls of the castle in no time. However, later on, her powers are drastically diminished. The Alliance is at one point outnumbered, and she immediately suggests to teleport everyone else to safety, and the king's like, no, we fight or we die. Why did nobody say, hey Jaina, how about you use that ship to bombard the Horde, that will even the odds? Or how about later when the Alliance runs into this pathway that's blocked by the Blight? They immediately start looking for Mechatork, I believe, yeah. They start asking him for spare flying machines. And I'm thinking to myself, Jaina just cleared a far bigger landmass covered in Blight with a single spell. How about we ask her to clear up this path for us? But no. So anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope the next expansion brings something positive for the Horde. And until then, stay tuned and be good.